Welcome to another edition of Beyond the Baseline Inside Fordham Basketball. I'm Dwyer. We'll review the highs and the lows of the first week of the season and prepare for two games this week, including the big matchup Friday against Iona in New Rochelle. I don't have an interview this week, so I'll discuss the games in great detail. I hate to put salt on a wound, but let's discuss Fordham's loss to NJIT 72-61 in the Rose Hill Gym. It was brought to my attention that this was the worst loss of the Ken Pom era. NJIT was ranked 356th. The previous loss was Maryland Eastern Shore at 354 during that double OT loss in the lone Kyle Neptune year in 2021. Fordham is now 1-3 all-time against the Highlanders, and it prompted a John Rothstein tweet of the epitome of brutality, losing that bye game, which had 1.1 thousand likes on Twitter. NJIT had its two best players out because of injury. That also hurt a lot. And they also got 33 points from the freshmen, including an incredible 18-point performance from the freshman David Bolden from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I don't know where to start with this. Here was Mike Magpayo, the head coach, in the press conference after the game. Here's the audio courtesy of Fordham Athletics.
All the credit to NJIT. They came in here with a lot more purpose. I thought they played harder than us. I thought we were a little tentative, not a little, a lot tentative, guys, just first time in Rose Hill. And then communication. Communication was really the number one culprit. I mean, offensively, we'll get to that as well. You're not going to win many games when you shoot 4 for 24 from 3, but I just think that a lot of the defensive breakdowns really led to three-pointers, and once they got going, every single breakdown turned into a basket for them.
So here's the thing. In April, Coach said we want to do three things: defend, rebound, and take care of the basketball. They did two of the three things last week in that game. They did out-rebound the Highlanders 45-37 and won the turnover battle 8-11, but guys could not get it going offensively. Coach noticed something was happening on some of those possessions.
I think that there were some out-of-character shots for us. You know, I thought guys shot some threes that was really out of character, especially at the end of the first half that it gave them an 11-point lead. It was a 5-point game, and sometimes, you know, you're trying to be a hero, and I thought a couple guys were doing that. Yes, some of them were very good looks, and I don't really harp on it, so I don't really, the shooting, as far doesn't matter. I do think that we did a poor job handling their switching defensively, and that I took responsibility for that coaching-wise. They were switching everything, and we weren't able to get to the paint. And so when we started the second half, we were throwing the ball in the post, and that really got us going and got us back in the game. And then we kind of lost sight of that with some subs. And so got to figure that out. Got to make sure that we're throwing the ball in the post. That is a big part of it. That was our number one offensive key, and I didn't think we did a good job of that in the first half. And so, again, myself, I got to get a lot better.
Defense was a struggle too, and there were two momentum shifts in that game, I believe. With a few minutes left in the first half, NJIT ended on a 16-4 run to take an 11-point lead. The Rams crawled back and made it a 3-point game with 11:25 to go, but on an inbound pass, Zarik Nutter missed his assignment on defense. It led to a wide-open 3 in transition, and it went downhill from there. Coach believes communication was a big issue.
You know what? We're switching things, and when we switch things, guys are now on a different matchup that they're probably studying personnel, and we do it every day against ourselves. We're switching certain positions, and I just felt like our switching communication was really, really poor. That's the deal. You know, we are a quiet team, and we have to improve there because Rose Hill's loud, and it's really hard to communicate, and the guys had a tough time communicating out there in their first game in Rose Hill, and we paid the price.
And after watching it on replay, here's some of the notes I took while watching it yesterday. NJIT hit 6 threes when Ram defenders went under screens, and that's part of the communication problem there. Also, I kept a stat of running into players either for an offensive foul or if they were out of position on defense, and Fordham had 8 of those in the game, 5 in the first half. Basically, they weren't in the right position. They created fouls, blockage of time, weren't at their spot. It caused a lot of problems. I even saw Christian Henry look back at the bench multiple times, this was on the ESPN Plus broadcast, and say, hey, what defense are we running, 3 or 4? Trying to get everyone in sync was difficult. I don't know if that was because of just a lack of a whole new roster or what, but it looked like they were lost in transition D and also on half-court offense. It was hard for them to get some momentum or set up a play because people were trying to get into the right spot on the floor, and it took up way too much time just to even get it initiated. For some reason, too, with less than 9 minutes in the game, the basket felt like less than 2 inches wide because nothing was falling for this team. Christian Henry, 15-point scorer from Eastern Michigan, the transfer, scored 1 point in this game, missed all the mid-range shots. Everything from layups to mid-range, from everyone else, rimming out, couldn't get a roll. But I'm gonna throw the cat out of the bag here. For the whole game, I tracked good-looking threes. That's when you have a great look at the basket with the defender showing up late. Fordham missed 8 in the first half and 5 in the second half for 13 total wide-open missed shots to finish 4 of 24 from downtown. The bright spot, DeJour Reeves, as good as advertised. When he goes downhill and is aggressive, he's as good as it gets. I love his game. He finished with 21 points and 3 assists.
He's good, shot good percentage, can penetrate, and can absolutely score it, can get going. So he did exactly what we expect and what we're seeing him out in the summer and fall. I still think that, again, it's defensively. I thought at the point of attack he was a little reachy. We have to be so much better defensively, and until we figure that out, we're not going to be the team. Until we figure out that we have an identity defensively and we're willing to, stick our chest in there, stick our nose in there, and be gritty, we're going to have a tough time. So that'll be a key.
Other key takeaways for me was Rika Schulte, I used to say Schulte, more German pronunciation, Schulte, and Abbas Bodija both played a very good 4 and 5. Schulte plays very hard. He also has a nice touch around the rim in terms of tip-ins and getting to his spot, and you can't deny how much this guy hustles and plays hard. He was awarded the Hustle Crown before the season started, and it all makes sense. Bodija, also a very good rim protector against guards coming in for easy layups. He gets to his spot, is able to block those layups and floaters with ease. If you remember last year, Abdou Timbilla was a great rim protector in the 25-win season, but then for some reason, guards were able to just get their way last year, found himself in foul trouble early. I think Bodija does a good job timing his blocks and will be a key contributor on defense this year, which is why he got the start in Game 2. As for the other front court mate, Jack Whitbourne, according to the broadcast with Andrew Bogish on ESPN Plus, said he was out with a lower body injury, still waiting to get 100% before making his Fordham debut. I think he makes a massive impact on the floor. You could do Whitbourne and then Schulte, and then you could also bring Bodija off the bench. Whitbourne is that offensive guy. If you needed a bucket, it could have been Reeves, Whitbourne, back and forth. When he gets back, this team will feel more complete. It will allow other players to be better. Maybe Akira Jacobs is able to hit more outside threes because of his presence inside and is able to stretch the floor. I just think Whitbourne is such a is such an impact player for this team that we're not even get to see yet. So once he's healthy, once we get to see regular playing time from him, I think we're going to see a different squad. Speaking of guys that are out, we learned that guard Dimitri Gardner, graduate, no longer on the team. If you look at the Fordham basketball roster with the team picture on the website, you'll see a number 5 on the far left side of the photo. Then leading into that game, I noticed on the game notes, he's no longer on the squad. No official word from the school on why, but several have said he just left the team. Advertised in the offseason as an instant bucket, Gardner ranked 12th in the nation in D2 at Augusta University, averaging 23 points a game. If you remember during my preview with Joe Henry and Joe Budzelik, Joe Henry with WFUV said, "I don't know where Gardner fits on this roster." Well, it looks like that was the case, and there's one less scoring option on the roster. Just a wild scene at Rose Hill. So a ton of storylines with the first game of the year. And if it makes you feel any better, though, Loyola Chicago lost to Mercyhurst a few days later and then lost to North Texas last night. So the Ramblers are off to a rough start as well, but no excuses. I mean, let's be honest, everyone. No excuses. You have to win these early bye games at home against lesser competition. And one of my really close friends, Richard, who's on X as well, you know, we have to say this. College basketball is way different. These players are getting paid. You've got to be able to step up in the big moments and make these plays. It was just inexcusable. Coach even said it afterwards in his press conference, as well as in his second press conference, said that watching the film, that's not how this team wants to play, and it showed. So that brings me to Game 2 against D3 opponent Mount St. Mary from Newburgh in upstate New York. And I was making comments to my friends, if they don't win by 50, we have a problem. Well, they took care of business and won by 69, 106-37. Here's Coach after the win.
They had to respond after a night that wasn't up to our standards on Tuesday night. I think every single guy to a man would say the same thing in that locker room. And we had some gritty days the last 2 days in Rose Hill. The practices were tough, and these guys responded, and they've responded every single time. I think today was just I was really pleased with the team idea, 27 assists, playing together, playing for somebody else, and that was really the focus today. So I'm happy that these guys came out of here with a dub.
Two main things I need to hit on is one, the urgent team meeting after the loss against NJIT.
There's confrontation. In this room, there was a pretty hearty, after the film session, there was I would call it a just urgent team meeting right away where Akira talked, Rikas talked. Rikas and I had a midnight phone call after Tuesday night, and he kind of pointed out, he said everybody was trying out there, Coach. We were just all on different pages. And so, again, it was just all the same theme that came out of Tuesday night that we had to correct ASAP. And I love it.
And they changed up practice just to handle the lack of communication. Listen.
We practiced 2 days with the crowd noise and music on. Even the coaches, it was hard for us to communicate to each other. It's a big deal. I thought 7 threes, and then we counted. It was 6 threes. 6 threes were straight from communication. So we gave 18 points from communication on Tuesday night, and really simple communication errors. And then calling plays on that side. And then 2 times it happened in the first half where 4 guys knew the play and 1 guy didn't, and that's a big deal.
He also made a change to the starting lineup to bring more leadership in as well.
I do like that size, having a boss and Rikas there next to each other. And then, Marcus, I thought he's been such a consistent leader and captain and communication and just, on Tuesday night, we needed somebody to bring everybody together out there on the court, and I just wanted to make sure we had that from the start tonight, somebody that was going to bring it together.
And this game saw the first appearance for freshman Rura Carr. He had 14 points and 6 boards. Here's Coach talking about his game.
For a guy that didn't get to play, for him to show up like that on Wednesday, just said a lot about his character and his talent level. I'm glad you guys got to see it today. And it's just defensively and rebounding. He's really going to have to do the job there, but he can really shoot that thing, and that's really going to help us. He's long. And we'll throw some random things out there to make sure that he can survive defensively, just to make sure he's on the court.
Now, here's the thing. Watching the film over again and just seeing how this game played out, it was a dunk fest, and it showed that their size and athleticism obviously was greater than a D3 opponent. It was sloppy, though, at times, in my opinion, and I wish I would have seen a lot more crisper passes and shots that got knocked down in rhythm. They did shoot 6 of 27 from three-point land. But the key is they started off with a win. So what's next for Fordham? Well, tomorrow they host Wagner at the Rose Hill Gym. Seahawks not looking good at this point, 0-2 with losses to VCU and Seton Hall. Now, that Seton Hall loss was only by 7 points. Wagner is going through an interesting period in its basketball program. The team is led by Donald Copeland as the head coach, but he's currently suspended while the school investigates allegations of mistreating players. I'll put a story in the comments below if you want to read into that. In his absence, former Fordham assistant coach Dwyer McMillan has been named interim head coach. They have a three-headed scoring output. John Awoki is averaging 20 a game, Sam Smith 16, and Eddie Placer with 11. Now in the all-time meeting, the Rams are 25-3 against Wagner, 16-1 at the Rose Hill Gym. 2 years ago, if you remember the season opener, it took overtime to beat Wagner. Sophomore Elijah Gray at the time had a career-high 16 points to get the victory in that one. Then Elijah Gray went from that season to Temple, then went to Wisconsin, and if you've been following college basketball, he is no longer on the Wisconsin Badgers website, who are also ranked. So, interesting to see what happens with Elijah Gray and his career. Then on Friday, the game every fan marked on their calendar, a road game versus Iona in New Rochelle. A trip back for DeJour Reeves as they look to get their first road win of the season. Fordham leads that all-time series 32-31. They used to play against each other all the time in the 80s and 90s, being in the same conference as Fordham used to be in the MAC. Their last win was when I was a ball boy in 2006. It was a 70-54 win at the Rose Hill Gym. Sebastian Green had a career day going 8 for 10 from the floor and scoring 20 points with 9 boards. Dunstan Stout and Brent Butler also had double-digit scoring outputs. But that's not the game that I remember the most. I remember the year earlier when Iona had a very good team. Steve Burt put up 33 points in a victory. But here's what I'll always remember, folks. It was about an hour until tip-off. My family always got there early so we could talk to the players and help them with warm-ups. All of a sudden, with 45 minutes until tip, the clock runs above the shot clock with and also on the main scoreboards to show how much time before, we get to the Star-Spangled Banner and also opening tip. And what I remember is 45 minutes before the game, the Iona students started crawling into the gym and started chanting like crazy and getting their team fired up. I think there was about 50 to 100 of them that were just firing up 30 minutes before the game. I remember looking at some of the players and they were like, oh, okay, this is how it's going to go? This is go time. Fordham ended up losing that game 71-70. In that game, my brother almost got trampled after a free throw attempt. We would always wipe the paint in that U shape to make sure that it was dry for players on the next possession and they didn't get any injuries or slip on the floor. Without even reaching half court, there was a steal, and my brother almost got trampled on a layup attempt that went in. I remember Stout telling my brother, my bad, as he went back on the next play. Crazy core memory for us as ball boys. Had to share that story with you. Also in this matchup, the teams were supposed to play against each other when Neubauer was head coach during the 2020 COVID year. And also at Iona, it was Rick Pitino as head coach. It was supposed to be his first head coaching job back in college hoops after spending time in Europe. But they couldn't play because of all the positive tests and all those quarantines. Now, fast forward to this year, it's a battle of two former assistants, Dan Giroux and Mike Magpayo. Iona beat Hofstra 81-73 in their opener. CJ Anthony, the Cincinnati transfer, had 24 points, and I think he can be really, really good. The Rams will have a handful in that matchup. They had 22 points. Iona Gales had 22 points off turnovers, 19 bench points. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well, like Fordham has not shot the ball well, but they do play fast, and they can score around the rim. I expect a fun game in that one, but here's the thing. I am not predicting any more scores. I predicted a double-digit win against NJIT, and it was the exact opposite. So I'm going to hold off on that for a while, but I do think they do split it this week. Iona will have a lot of energy in that building. The Rams will have to try and match it. I'm not sure that they'll be able to do it. based on what I've saw in the first few games, but again, I am hoping I am wrong. Now to an update on KenPom. Due to the NJIT loss, Fordham is down 76 spots to 259, dead last in the conference. To give comparison, LaSalle is 2-0 and went up 44 spots to 158. This is in the A10. To end the episode, here's what I have to say. This team has to shoot better from the three-point line. The offseason, it was praised about offensive efficiency, and the team at the moment is 10 for 51. Coach said they have to focus on teamwork, and 27 assists on Friday should help move them forward, and I hope it does. Defensively, they can't leave their teammates out to dry. Screens killed them in the first game, and I know a Dan Giroux team is going to really focus on getting everyone involved. They won the assist-to-turnover matchup against Hofstra, and it will be a true test for Coach and his players. I'm the most positive fan out there in the world, and I believe any team can achieve anything, but this will be a week where they have to prove to me and all of you out there what they are all about. Remember to leave a comment and follow the podcast. I'll get more interviews going as the weeks roll on. If you missed any, please take a listen back. Some of my favorites are Coach DePauli and Ryan Rooms. Thanks for listening. Have a great week, and as always, everyone, go Rams.